Hello. I've had a couple of videos showing you these boxes, how I sort and organize things, and I'm just about to create a new one. I did for you already the signatures that I've got pre-folded and ready to go for journals. And then I showed you the notebook paper that I collect and just store in a box like this, just to keep it all together. So I've got a third box done in the same decoupage with newsprint. It's newsprint paper. I think this might have, some of it might have come out of an old magazine that had newsprint style paper. But this one's going to be for book pages that have been harvested. So I've got a couple books I want to harvest, and I've got one that I've already done. So Footprints in the Sand. This was a book that was at my dad's. No one's going to read it again. It had some nice coloring around the edges, and I just went through and ripped all the pages out, and I've just kept it together just so it's tidy with an elastic, and kept the cover. I may use the cover for something else, it's hard to say. And then I've got this other book that I didn't have to deconstruct. It was already in this shape. I don't remember where I got this, but it's a recipe book. And it's very old and very rough. I'm just going to see if I can find any kind of date in it. But this one I'm just sticking in this box because it doesn't sit nice on the shelf with all the other books. So 1913. And this will be great when I do get around to doing a recipe book. It even has recipes for whooping cough cure and for cleaning paint. So this is really cool stuff. I love stuff like that. And I just love how grungy these pages are. Like, you don't have to distress that at all. It's already done for you. Probably will need to be either reinforced with some clear plastic on one side, or maybe tissue paper, so that it's just tissue paper and glue so that it's stronger and will hold up and last. Or glued down to a page would be another thing you could do with it. But I just love this old book, and I honestly can't wait to get into it. So that will store in there nicely. And then I've got a copy of Wind in the Willows. I think I got this at the Mission Thrift, where they have books marked down to 3 for $1. And so I deconstructed that. I don't know where the cover ended up for this one. Actually, I do think I remember. I stuck it in my bottom of my cart because I thought this was such a beautiful color, discolored, that I would use it to collage on. So I wanted to use that right away. So I stuck it in my cart, but those can just stay in there. I might, when I get elastics coming across my desk, I'll throw an elastic around them every once in a while. And then in the back here, I've got some book pages that I got in hauls. One with a dragonfly. This one I think it's a book cover page, like end page in a book, from a book. And then some children's book stuff that I got in a haul this week, or I guess it was really last week. And so I thought I would leave those in there too at the back. They're a little bigger. And then I've got this Chambers 20th Century Dictionary that I got at the, pretty sure this one was from the estate sale that we went to. I think it was back in May. And so I was just going to show you, I know you know how to rip pages, but this has a beautiful discolored or aged coloring to it. So this book is from... let's see a date. Oh, maybe over here. Original 1901, latest reprint 1935. University Press, Edinburgh. So it looks like, well, I don't know if there's already pages out or not, but you can just literally go through and rip the pages out. And this is something you can certainly do when you're watching television or something. Now you might also want to, instead of ripping, finding, this looks like it's sewn in. So you can find the center of a signature. Most of the time when I'm using book page, I'm using it in collage. So I don't necessarily need to do this, but I'll just show you anyway. If you can find the center of a signature in an old book that's sewn together. Here. It's hard to see because it's the same color as the paper, but you can just take your X-Acto knife or little tiny scissors and just snip those threads. And then you might want to reinforce. These pages are pretty thin, but then you can get them out like a double page. Get out of the book. Some little gentle wiggling. And then you've got a signature page. So I could put some of these in my signature box as well. And like I say, you can reinforce this with just some other ivory colored paper or some washi tape or some different colored paper. If you want to maybe do a wide band of something that kind of comes out onto the page, that would be pretty. Maybe I'll show you that in a video. But yeah, I would save some of these for my signature book if I'm able to get them out without too much fuss. I don't usually stick with something that's gonna slow me down too much, but if it's coming out easily like this, it's worth doing to me. And that adds some interest when you're coming along through a notebook and all of a sudden there's a dictionary page. Maybe there's a couple words on it that relate to the theme of the book or something, and you've got them highlighted some way. Maybe you find maybe it's the word is love or something, and you find some pale pink vellum with little hearts on it, and you put that over top of the definition of the word love or something like that. That kind of thing is what I would try to do with it. So there's one more here in this signature, and it feels like it's also stuck, so it might not come apart as easily. But it did. So since it's still attached, I'll use it that way. And then maybe I'll just do some tearing for my book page box. So sometimes it's really easy. Sometimes I've found on the newer paperback books, they get kind of, you end up with a big chunk of spine that you couldn't, because everything's glued down. It's a little more difficult. I don't know if these coin books maybe will be that way. I'll show you how those come out. But that's sometimes what you're left with, is the spine of the book and a bunch of little tatters. I suppose that if you tore off some of the more 3D parts, you could use that in a collage even. I mean, maybe I'll save it and do that. You just never know what you are putting in the bin to go in the garbage. Quite often you can retrieve it out and find some way to use it. And you know, you could also be paying more attention as you're ripping the pages out to find, you know, a certain word or whatever. If you've got a sunflower journal, you might want to find something related to that, or a travel journal, you might want to find words that relate to travel and use those pages in your book. So you can set those aside and put them in your, well, I use different ways to save things for a book. I'll have, you know, the magazine holders that hold like a dozen magazines on a shelf. I'll have one of those with a label on the front, and I'm saving celestial items in one, and mermaid items in one, and rainbow items in another one. So I do that kind of thing to kind of get ready to make a journal that I would like to make. For instance, right now I've got one that has all strawberry stuff in it. Some of you might know who that's for. I got to get at that too. I'm almost got enough stuff to start, I think. It's strawberry season, so I'm kind of hoping to find some printed materials in the grocery store and stuff that I can use in that journal that I'm making for a cousin. Let's see if I can get some more of these signature pages out. Sometimes they'll come out quite easily. So that's some dictionary page. And I'll add that in there. And then, like I say, this is something you can do when you're not feeling creative, or maybe you're even sick and you don't feel like sitting up at your desk and making anything. You can do this and sort of be prepped for when you are ready to work on something. So let's see how these coin books work. They are 1981, so this one isn't terribly old, but I thought they would be interesting pages. Not as aged, but they do have a nice feel to them. But I thought I could punch out the coins as I come to them. And then the pages that are just writing or numbers, that'll make interesting paper too for in the books or in the collages. So I'd probably just throw that, well, I'll keep this together for now, but I'll probably use this in collage. And then like this cover page, you know, it may not find as many uses, but try to do a couple pages at a time. You kind of play with it, try 2 pages and then try 3 pages, and just to make the work go a little quicker. But also you want to be looking to see if there's anything that, like, if I find pictures of coins, I'll set them aside for fussy cutting. Not really cutting, but punching. I'm working on getting all the different sizes of circle punches, because I've got also a button book that I want to punch out buttons. So I'll save these ones off to the side here so that I can add them to my porch projects. I don't have to do all of them. This would also be an interesting page in a book, but I do want to do some punches of coins. So I'm going to just put these off to the side till I have several, and then I'll go back to making my pile of pages over here. It's not a great noise, but this one's ripping pretty well. But you see how it's leaving behind a little bit of paper each time? So what happens is eventually you're getting a smaller piece of paper. But these are ripping pretty well. It's just a nice weight of paper. Receipt in there, probably the receipt from the original purchase of the book. And that's another thing I've been saving. I did see a video, it's been a while back now, where a woman saved, I don't remember who it was, or I would let you know, but she saved all of her cash register receipts in a big basket or box or whatever. And then when she had a lot of them, she would make little notebooks out of them, little notepads. And a lot of times with receipts today, it's a thermal printing, and it fades away almost completely. So you're left with like a fax paper, quality paper, that is virtually clear, plain, blank, because the printing disappears. So this is giving us a really rough edge now. So what I would normally do then is switch to the back of the book and go at it from the other direction. These note pages I will keep out and put in my note paper book. And there's one with an ad on it. That'll probably stay as a full page, so I'll keep it in here. Yeah, there's a few like advertising for other books and things like that. And I'm not worried about the pages being in order. If I'm looking for something, I'll just look through. Now that's got a checklist. I think I want to save those out in my notepads too, because that's something that you could use as note paper, as opposed to, whereas this stuff is going to be more for collaging and backgrounds. So that, to me, I didn't even realize these pages were in here, so that's a bit of a gold mine to me. Happy to find those. I worked all weekend, so I'm kind of tired, and I think that's why I'm doing this instead of crafting. I've got a gazillion things I want to do, but sometimes when you're tired, you just don't feel like it. But like I say, you can always do something like this to fill the time, work towards the end product of getting something crafted. And you're likely to use it if it's already torn out and ready to go. Whereas if it's a full book, those books have been sitting in there on my bookshelf for a couple of months, and I haven't used them because they were still full books and I didn't want to rip into them. So now they're ripped into and they are ready to go. And this is a great thing to send in swaps too. Not only just because someone might not have any, but they might not have thought about it. Maybe they do have some, but they never thought of using it in a journal. So then this, when they get a few pages out of a coin book, they go, oh, I'm going to check and see if Dad has a coin book, or if I see one at the thrift store next time. So, and then these numeric tables, I don't really care so much for that, but it will make good background. And I don't know if I have enough. Add a few more of these for punching. And when I'm done punching these out, I'll still have some more background material. Like I'll save this when I punch these out. So it'll go back into this or into my scrap bins, one or the other. And this is telling you the value of things, but from being in from 1984, is it even still valid? I don't know. I don't really care. I don't have a lot of coins. It's not something that I'm interested in. And if I ever get interested in it, there's lots of these at the thrift stores, so not a problem. Some of these larger ones. I think those would be really cool in clusters. So see, now we're getting to where it's not ripping good at all again, but we've only got a few pages left. So you can either just cut them out or rip them out. I'll do some punching of these. They're maybe not perfect circles because of the way they're photographed, but and then the back side, if there is anything left, I can collage and make a card. So that'll go into my porch projects box, and I think these I'm going to save for punching out as well. They seem to all now have there's that spine. Yeah, so that's a little chunky to use. This one I might use that on a cover, maybe a really grungy, vintagey cover. It's almost like a ruffle or something. And then these ones could be useful. That's all good for paper making. Little bits that I'm pulling out of there. It's very dense because it's like a little bit off of each page in the book. Anyway, so that's how I do that and how I think it through and divvy it up. So that's going to go in my porch projects. That's going to go in my notebook paper. And this I will put right into my book page box, like that. What other books did I have here? Tour book. So Atlantic Provinces and Quebec tour book. And I'm pretty sure this was one that Mom and Dad did a they did from Ontario down east. They didn't go out west. But in 2000, there was an old car tour that they were involved in. So this is from AAA and CAA. So there's lots of pages in here that you can get pictures from for a travel book. And then there's other pages that aren't that exciting, but could make good background. Like these pages. The diamonds are kind of cool. So this is one that I have no problem cutting up. Because a lot of them, like, I mean, you could still use it, but there's a covered bridge postcard. I know someone that would like that. So yeah, this is the kind of pages that would be good to have in your book page collection. So I would just go through it and start tearing. I don't think this is sewn in. I think this is all glued in, so it might get sticky at the end. And some people would cut them out. I prefer a torn edge myself to a cut out edge. And I mean, I'll just leave them all together for now. I might even put it back in the cover if I can get it out cleanly, the way I did with this book. Just store it like that. But then when I'm looking for a particular city, map of a city or information about a city, then I could look through it. But if I leave it in book form, I'm probably not going to use it. I'm just going to have it on a shelf. So I say this means that I'll probably use it. There's some good color in here. It's not just a black and white book. So great for a travel journal. And these would be great in a swap. Like this would be great for a journaling card. Does anybody have a quicker way or another way that they do this kind of harvesting that you'd like to share? I'd love to hear about it in the comments. And if you want to direct us to a video that shows a different way, I would be interested in checking that out. So I hope you've enjoyed this little look into some of the things that I do to organize myself. If you don't have something set up, you're going to end up in chaos. I've been there. In fact, I still am. I'm just trying to work my way out of chaos and into some sort of organization. When you first start, you don't know what categories you need. And as you get going at it, you realize, like for me, it's coffee dyed paper, music paper, book page, and map. Those are the 4 staples. And then from, of course, you've got your scrapbooking paper, your colored cardstock, and all of that. But as far as things you're harvesting, that's the 4 things that I usually do. Oh, and ledger paper too. Ledger paper is great because it's a place to write on. Lined paper and graph paper. But as far as books, it's those 4. Music, map, regular old book pages of any kind, and coffee dyed paper. So this book has a good variety of pictures and maps and writing pages. So that's kind of nice. And you can see we're getting that spine is getting thick there now too. So you can also just cut some of that away so that it lets the paper underneath cut off closer to the spine. Get that out of there. Like that. Coupons. That's a thicker page. That's coupons from Holiday Inn. So that's kind of neat. Now that one ripped really, really wonky. So we'll just go in here and cut some of that away. And just kind of work with the book to get the pages out of it. But I do like to see the edge of the page ripped rather than cut, because then I may be able to use that ripped edge in a collage and only have to rip 3 more sides. So this book page box will be about halfway full when I'm done here this morning, and room for more. I do have a couple more that I think I have a copy of Black Beauty around here that I wanted to do, and also another one that I've had for years and never even really looked through it was Mensa Puzzles, and it's got a nice aged look to it now. It's kind of like a thicker newsprint kind of paper, but that's really cool graphics for book pages, journal pages. And the Black Stallion, been waiting to dig into that. That's another one that I got when they have the X on them at Mission Thrift. They're 3 for $1. So purchased it for that purpose, so I'm not going to feel guilty about ripping it up. I'm sure there's millions of copies of the Black Beauty out there. It's not anything too precious. It's not a first edition or anything. Again, I'm just going to go at this from the back side now. It's almost too easy. It's not really ripping, it's just ungluing. They're still stuck together. And that's okay, but that means you just got to go back and glue them together or unstick them at the time that you're going to use it. But if you can get it out in chunks like that, it makes it a quicker job. It's not a problem. And so I think that's basically what I wanted to show you. And like I say, I would welcome any other tips. This is working well for me though, and I'm happy with it. And like I say, now when I need map, I don't have to go to my big atlas unless I need a larger page. I hate to use the big beautiful atlas pages for a little collage where I just need a little bit of map. And this is a lot more writing than map anyway, but there's some great pictures in there too. So if I join that with an elastic and stick it in my box here, if I have them in elastics, I can put them in this way so you can see what it is, and that would be easier to find it. If you end up with them all with the pages up, you can make yourself a little tab to go on the side to label, like this one's map book, this one's storybook, this one's children's book, whatever, cookbook. But yeah, eventually I'll have this book full of the different types of paper and enjoy using it. Yeah, those are my signature ones. So anyway, thanks for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Most of all, have a great day, and thanks for watching.